Welcome to the next special edition. This is a legit special edition of the Kramer Jackman show because I have two guys that you hear their voices a lot, and that is by our Roger Goodell of the SFL. We have Cameron
Don't do
Irvine
that to
here.
me.
It's
Don't do
not.
that to
I'm
me.
just saying that you are
What
like
is this, a Jeremy Vega introduction?
no.
What is this?
A Jeremy Vega introduction is just Jeremy Vega. I'm getting there. I'm getting there to the Cameron Irvine part. He is the
Okay.
the mastermind. He is the next step that's under God here in the SFL, and that is Cameron Irvine here is with me. Then we have the guy that is like I don't know exactly where you're located from, but you have the voice. You are like almost you're part of the voice of the SFL. It's Andy Hamilton, Vancouver's. You're their general manager, correct?
I am the owner and
Owner.
head coach of Vancouver, and I was surprised you put me after Cam. I mean, he was second to God, and then you were started to get to my introduction, and I went, well, this is not going to go well.
No, I will never give you a Jeremy Vega introduction. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, thanks.
That is
Appreciate it.
yeah, because Jeremy Vega is a special man, and he deserves a special type introduction. It's just straight line, straight to the point. So, guys, it's Wednesday night. We're recording a special edition. How you guys doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, not bad.
Andy's forgotten where his microphone is on his phone again, I think.
I sound fine. I haven't moved.
I'll edit this back in post if we can't hear him. I'll make sure I'll boost up his audio level, so it's okay.
Yeah, would you just relax, Cam? All right, we're doing fine
All
over
right.
here.
Andy's making me
All
work
right.
a little bit more.
Mr. Second to God thinks he can just come in here.
Look, I didn't pay Kramer to say that. He decided to say that on his own.
Yeah, speaking
But
of
the
pay,
PayPal's on the way.
yeah, I'll wait on that. That's a little call-out section I have. I have mine already ready. But for this podcast, it's kind of it is special, like I already said. But it's more of like to get to know you guys a little bit towards the middle part, but also the SFL and what it means to you guys. So I'll just start off with Cameron. What does this mean to you? Because you are the mastermind of all of this.
Well, it's my life's work now. I mean, 10 years, not all with the SFL, but since I decided to be brave enough to take this idea public. So at this point, it's just kind of, it's part of my fabric. It means a lot to me that people, see its value and its potential. And I take things very seriously. So when things are going well, they're going more well for me than anybody else because I just feel it 10 times more. And when things aren't going so well, it's like cut me with glass. It can really hurt. So trying to manage the extreme highs and extreme lows with seeing how your life's work develops every day is it's a fabric of my being.
Yeah, for only being here for it'd be a one complete year to when it hits to I think December. I mean, even from seeing how things have progressed forward and seeing how I can tell when you have something that's in the works. Because I mean, we had a conversation once of how about fuel. Being able to do that and you are adapting and making SFL even better, that is awesome.
You can't stop once you get complacent, especially, I'm 28 in a tech business or an entertainment business. I'm like the veteran. I can't let young people pass me up, and so you just can't stop. You never stop. Somebody says, "Hey, this might be interesting. You might want to talk to this person," or "Hey, have you seen this tech before?" And you never say no. You do your research and you pivot. And when businesses and partners say, "Where do you envision the SFL in 5 years?" I tell them, "You're asking me an impossible question, not because I don't have a plan, but because in 5 years the league might look totally different based on the technology that's available to us." And so you have to constantly pivot and not be afraid of change, no matter how many people tell you that it might be a bad idea. or that it might not work, or that there might be a bunch of problems with it. And you just have to say, I don't care. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna get it right.
So pretty much always stay hungry.
That's it. Always stay hungry. You're right.
So Andy, what does the SFL mean to you?
Yeah, that's a fun question. For me, the SFL, is a multitude of things. I think first and foremost, I'm a workaholic, a work junkie, and I enjoy, putting effort into something and getting out a return. And I think for me, putting a lot of effort into, whether it be graphics or whether it be my own team, whether it be the social media aspect of the league. I enjoy seeing the smile on people's faces. I enjoy being a part, of something bigger. And the league has just been a blast for me to, be a part of in that regard, as well as, really, getting my team was a big step for me. And I think, it's provided a lot of opportunity for me to, feel like I belong somewhere, and, can do fun things and can be, important to a group of people like my players and, the people who are involved with the other organizations in the league. And, it's a release. It's somewhere to go after work and, get back to work, because I think, like I said, I really enjoy the process of a lot of stuff. And I enjoy putting the grind and the effort into, something. And when work ends at 5 o'clock, you got to go home and make dinner and such. And for me, that's kind of a letdown. I enjoy the process of work, so having something else to focus that energy on is good and positive. And the SFL has just been a blast. And obviously, with football being my favorite sport, a lot of those passions combine with the SFL. And it's an incredible product. Cam has put a lot of effort into it, and I'm just doing my best to help contribute to that in any way, shape, or form.
As you mentioned that you're a workaholic, and I mean, there are people that are like that. Me personally, when I get out from work, I want to take a nap and relax for a little bit, then do a little bit of something else. But a question for both of you guys, and now Cam, this is your full-time thing. What did you guys do before the SFL?
Well, for me, believe it or not, it's still not. I am the assistant sports information director at Texas Wesleyan University. I have taken on the SFL as a full-time job, but it is not yet the only thing that I'm doing, working towards that. So I guess you could say that I used to informally do it as a full-time job and then committed, the hours and resources to doing it full time. But I've been in sports journalism since I was 16 years old. I've never done anything else. Started covering high school sports through my love for Friday night football here in Texas. It was just awesome to. It's actually a pretty awesome story. I went with my grandfather, the mayor of the city in which they lived in. They were good friends. My grandfather actually was the mayor before him. The three of us would go together to games, whether I was 8 years old or 18 years old. And my first job even put me on assignments for the schools we used to go watch, so that I could still have that time. And then after games, we'd go to Dairy Queen. It was just a tradition, and have a blizzard and talk about the game. And so it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of where I got my start, and finding that love for talking with these players that, hardly any of them are going to go on to play college ball or be any sort of relevant after high school. And you really started to, or I really started to embrace that role of giving players a platform in which, without me, they wouldn't be able to enjoy. And that gave me great joy in life, and I really enjoyed doing it. And so now I prefer to and seek out colleges that are on the lower levels, because I'm just not a D1 guy. I'm not a big athletes. Everybody knows how to only say one sentence. Nobody's willing to open up all the athletic departments are strict with what everybody can say. Everything's so serious. It's just not. It's not my vibe. And I like these. I like working with these underdog stories, and the SFL sort of epitomizes that love because everyone here is an underdog story and somebody that without the league it wouldn't be able to be told. So I mean that's kind of the background where I come from and how I was able to take what I've done professionally and apply it all to the league.
It was almost as if you were born to do something like this. I mean, it seems like it's just you stick with the sports, which that's awesome. That's exactly what I do too. It's like it's like almost runs into your blood.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I mean, when I was, I played basketball. Damon Simeon knows how good I am. Maybe others will someday too. But I played basketball a lot as a kid. And that was where I was. That was my passion. I was not a writer I mean, I was a sports junkie, but it wasn't anything, that could be turned into a professional career. And then, I wrote one story and it was crap. And somebody saw something in me and off I went. So I mean, I didn't know until a junior in high school I wasn't ever even on this path. So it's funny. It does seem that way, but at the same time it was just never on the radar at all.
All right, Andy.
Yeah, I think stories are kind of similar in that I always loved football. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, but I don't know, and people at the convention probably can attest to this. But I'm a 5'9" gentleman who, when it's soaking rain, maybe weighs 175 pounds, and that
Depends on
does
the
not.
length of the beard.
That's also a good point. And that does not equate to a professional or college football career. So your next thought process is either coaching or video games. When it comes to football, that's going to be the closest to the professional or college level field that I'll ever get. And as a kid, my family wasn't necessarily poor, but we weren't buying the newest Madden every single year. And that was frustrating from the standpoint that, I wanted to be part of the conversation. I wanted to have fun, and it's hard to do that when you're playing. This was before they had online roster downloads. So, it's hard to play Madden 08 on the PlayStation 2 when every other kid in your school is playing Madden 10. And just kind of, that grew, not necessarily an anger, but a frustration. And then that, I'm not part of the conversation. I'm not having the same conversations or fun that the other kids are having. And so, I was also passionate about sports graphics. And would make those for professional players and such across different forms. And I wandered across a sim football league. I think it was 7th or 8th grade, probably. And I just became enveloped with the idea. And I think it grew from the fact that the leagues that I would join around that time all were starting from scratch. So they would start, you would build a player, and they would have a draft. They would make teams and such. I grew to love that because I was part of the bigger conversation again. Everyone was experiencing it at the same time. It was almost a no man left behind situation. And then across that, I actually started my own league on a forum and was marketing the heck out of that league to try and get as many people in the door as I could. Because I believe in the sim football product. And really, that drove me to the SFL because I was and this will sound terrible, but I think Cam will respect the hustle. I was looking for other sim leagues to poach people out of because I knew that my product was superior to a lot of the leagues that were on the internet. And it wasn't a direct.
So far.
It wasn't a direct poach. It wasn't like I'm messaging people. It was more like I'm gonna
Would have been if I was shitty.
Exactly. It would have. It was more of a I'm gonna make myself known in this community and make it known that I am also running a sim league, and I will let them decide. But when I came across the SFL, I started chatting in one of the live games, just to, kind of put myself in the community. And as I was doing that, the guy who was calling the game uh, called out my username and said hello to me. And I thought that was the craziest thing of all time. And I immediately became transfixed on talking to the guy who was calling the game as it was happening. Um, and so, I ended up actually backing away and not being involved for a couple more months after that. And then when my league, I grew tired of running it. Um, I found the SFL again and decided to go full force. And I wanted to own my own team. And so I saw that they had openings on, it was either Twitter or their website. And I sent an email to Cam about possibly being an owner. Didn't have the game, didn't have anything. And I was telling him, I was like, oh, I'll buy the game. I'll learn this if you give me a team. And then he ended up hooking me up with James Klein and Shan Varner in Carolina. And we took over that franchise, the three of us, kind of around the same time, James being the owner and Shan and I, basically getting a free pass to learn everything all pro for 3 seasons. And
Wow.
they were not the prettiest seasons, but boy, I tell you what, I would not trade those 3 years for anything in the world. And I really do strongly believe that if I were not on a team, or if I were not a team owner, I would still be coaching with Shan or James in some capacity, because those guys have just been great.
I want to go back to the comment you said about you did a little poaching. I'm putting air quotes, but when I say that right now, you can't really see it because it's the podcast. But yeah, have you seen a lot of people try to do that? You see some people come into the SFL. Oh, it could be directed at you guys because both of you guys have been here for longer than I have. Have you guys seen that? Actually, some people try to do that here.
I think the interesting thing and the reason that I was not able to and didn't even attempt to was because when I came on the broadcast and I saw the quality and I saw Cam calling out fans, I just knew that it was really the first time that I had run into a product that my product did not compete with. And that was weird for me because I was like, this is strange that, with the level of effort that I put in to whatever I do, that someone has now beaten me. And I was like, okay, I can't compete with this, so I'm not even going to attempt. And I think that's something that's so interesting when I see other leagues around the internet is I always, sometimes will take a peek, and rarely do they ever even get close to the quality of the product that Cam puts together. And I think that's such an interesting dynamic and also so kind of fun to look at is that, in my opinion, other people can do whatever they want, but if their quality is not going to be up to the same standard, at the end of the day, the consumer, the people who are playing in the league will decide where they want to play. And 99% of the time, they're going to pick the league that has better quality, better graphics, a better show, and that is more entertaining. And 100% of the time, the SFL ticks all those boxes. And I think Cam would probably have a similar response, but I'd love to hear his thoughts on the matter as well.
Yeah, it's an area where I've grown in a lot, Kramer.
Mhm.
When it started and it started happening because look, what's the phrase about flattery? What I'm terrible with these. Is the sincerest form of flattery. What's the beginning of that phrase?
Um, I
Like duplication is the sincerest form of flattery. What is
I'm
that?
It's
I'm not sure.
imitation. Imitation is the sincerest form
Imitation
of
is
flattery.
the sincerest form of flattery. So on the one hand, when you start, and look, I'm not the first guy that came up with a sim league, but I think, the first guy that ever actually showed a sim league with using like a video game where people usually control it and you can see the players on the field and it's not a text sim, it's not a, it was just it was a hybrid in that way.
Yeah.
So when people would say, "Oh, I'm gonna do my own thing and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that," my first instinct, remember at the time I was only 22, 23 years old, a younger guy, just out of college, all that. It almost made me angry because I thought to myself, why not stay and help? Because we can all make this better together. But this is why and it was specific to like what is called the sim football community, where all these people just go out and they do their own thing and their own channels and their own league and their own this, their own that, because nobody can agree on anything. And I'd get angry and I'd say, I just don't understand, why just not help if we all stay together and band together, then we can make something great. And I think a lot of that, looking back and seeing, what's stuck and what hasn't over the course of history, I think, that was certainly the wrong approach by me. And in the present day now, it doesn't make me angry, but it coming after our people and using the platform that I've spent years and years to help cultivate and build, the community, the camaraderie, the all that, and then come in when I have sponsors that pay for, to reach the community, come in and then just try to advertise your product for nothing, speaks to what I perceive as, or what I used to perceive as, kind of a slap in the face. Like, oh, you're not really, I don't really consider you, you and your work and all that to be worth anything more than just a platform for me to come in and promote my own thing. But now I, I see the, I guess, people's desire to want to give it a go because they truly believe that there are things that they can do better. It's just like the XFL or the AAF, or they see an opening, they see an opportunity, and they say, hey, you know what, I can go do this. And at this point, honestly, Kramer, I just feel I encourage people that are interested in doing something like that you don't want that life. You don't want to run your own sim league, because I've seen it all. And unless it is your life's work, unless you can allow yourself to be totally transfixed with the world that you're attempting to create, it will swallow you whole. It has almost swallowed me whole a few times, because the internet is a place where people have free range to talk about anything, to act in the way that they want, to respect or not respect someone. It makes it very easy to just type out an insult quickly. It's what I call, drive-by conversations, where you just show up, you say something mean, and then you dip.
Yep.
And so it's a very hard place, especially when you're dealing with people that have extreme passions and opinions over any variety of topic. And so when that all comes together, all different ages, all different ethnicities, all different backgrounds, all different types of people and types of histories, it is a place that really needs a lot of massaging. That you have to, it's almost kind of like a newborn who, without you, or without your guidance, or without your steady hand on the back end of things to help keep things moving and keep things going, it won't be able to survive. And that takes a lot of commitment out of a person, a commitment that most people cannot possibly give. They might be able to give for a month or two, but eventually it becomes
Work
just
almost.
too exhausting. Right? Work, and nobody wants to work a second or a third job, or whatever the case may be. And so I feel bad that my advice to them is, you don't want this.
But at times
But
they could be
it's
good,
but it's
though.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to protect people, for not that I don't enjoy. I love my job, but it's because it's been my dream and desire for so long. If it's been your dream and desire for so long, then I wish you all the best, and I hope you can build something great. But I just I don't think people understand all that it entails, all the direct messages and conversations and fires and everything that falls on your shoulders. And it doesn't matter how much you outsource to people. It doesn't matter how much help you have. It doesn't, at the end of the day, I mean, it can't work unless you are all in and all over it. And a lot of people think it's going to be all sunshines and roses, and it's just like any other job. It just isn't. It's tough. It's tough work. It does, it has happened from time to time, and it's leading people down a path that isn't fair because you're selling a vision of something that will likely never be able to be obtained, because to reach all of those expectations you have to put in years of work into the product, and that just isn't something that most people are normally doing. So now you're just a snake oil salesman selling people things that aren't going to come true. And I don't like that being, coming into direct messages to members and users and stuff. It's just not fair to them, because then they spend their time, their valuable time trying to make something great that ultimately is just will never come to pass, and nobody wants to be a part of something like that.
As you mentioned time, I mean, of course, you got to put in a lot of time with this and for this. About roughly how many like hours a week do you like? This is for both you guys. Plan, prep, because I mean, both you guys do broadcasts. You guys broadcast the games. Especially with you, Cam, you pretty much. I mean, you already had the schedule already fixed the entire time, but being able to get to those games and make sure they're played, that has to be a lot of time on your part. And for Andy, of course, you broadcast, and you also have to help run Vancouver. So, how many hours a week do you guys usually typically spend?
I guess I'll go first. I don't. It's hard to say. Just to give you an example, obviously there are. Let's see. There's 6 game slots, so that's 12 hours on games, specifically being there to produce the games and all that. Um, Graphics wise, it happens, before a season, but setting up, uh, preparing for an individual game visually takes anywhere between an hour to 2 hours a week. So preparing that production each given week, probably somewhere in between 15 hours. So you're at about 27 hours now. Then I have broadcast and multimedia meetings that I'm involved in. So that's add another 2, that's 29. Then you add in the conference calls with league staff, um, the conversations in direct message with members of the community, whether they're just players or whether it's league staff, doing those things. Um, and then reading through all the messages given to. So you put about 5 hours onto that. That's about 34 total, and then you have playbook changes and playbook entry, and getting all those things in, and usually that's about 6. If I want to work out. If I want to do anything, highlights, commissioner vlogs, podcasts like this, then it adds further into that time. So it just kind of depends, how many hours do I have in a week, and how many hours can I physically spend doing it. So that's kind of how it all breaks down. And that's just me. That's just one person, not including everybody else's time and energy they spend, whether it's coaching or broadcasting or doing whatever.
I do appreciate you coming on the show, though. I really do.
Oh yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Andy.
Yeah, so my calendar is interesting and it varies week to week depending on, I mean, obviously with social media, a lot can change, but the average week, usually, so we'll start the week on like a Monday, let's say, and any games that are going on, I'll try and either watch or help in some capacity, whether it's tech support or if they don't have a stats guy, I will try and throw my hand in the ring when I can. And then on top of that, I try and get some social coverage for most game slots. So if there's 2 games going on at 6, I'll try and put a post up somewhere that has the link to the game or tries to drive traffic, whether that be just an Instagram post or a tweet. So, I try and watch every game that I can. Obviously, I can't watch 2 at once and stay as focused. I mean, I can probably turn them both on, but I try and focus on one at a time. And then I call a game each week, as well as I'll watch the Vancouver game if I'm not already doing something during the same time slot. And then film-wise, I will break down the Vancouver game myself. I have one of our scouts break down the Vancouver game. I have one of our scouts break down our next opponent. I do the same. And then as well as if let's say we're in week 4 and the opponent we're playing has 2 or 3 games, I ask my scout to do the most recent game, and then I will do the most recent 2 or 3 games, depending on what grasp I feel I have of their playbook, from just the most recent game. And then what I do on Tuesday, or if they're playing on Tuesday, on Wednesday now, is I'll fire up the Xbox and take all the notes and all the prep that our scouts and I have done on the opponent, and kind of try to build their playbook out, or build what I think it might look like. So if it's more pass heavy, I'll include more passes. If it's more run heavy, I'll include more runs. Try and build out what their defense looks like, and then I sim as many games as I possibly can. And then so the next days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, is just literally I come home from work, I turn on the Xbox, and it runs until I decide I've been up too long, I need to go to sleep. And that there's tweaking a lot going on in there. So, I watch a game, like I'm literally watching one right now against Carolina, because that's who we'll play next week. And, if I see a play in here that has just netted negative yards 4 times in a row and in the last game, well, I'll tweak and go take that out and change it. And then I'll start the game over and try and watch what's happening, what they're doing, what we're doing, what's working for them, what's working for us. How do I stop what's working for them? How do I improve upon what's working for us? While I'm doing that, I will try and get some graphics or stuff done for the league, or for my team in some capacity. If I don't have any work going on, I will tweet them. I will try and keep things going on social media, whether that's helping some of our different social media staffs oversee their personal not personal, but their team accounts, to try and drive traffic there and make sure we have a better, overarching team look for everyone. And then on Thursdays, coaches' points will go in. Fridays, the playbook will be due, and I pretty much will work on that until the deadline. So I think this year it's Friday at midnight. So most Fridays you will probably find me seated in front of my Xbox until 11:58, and then I will hit submit. And then after that, it's kind of a release, or a relief until the games start there on what do they start on now, Cam? Saturdays. And then Sunday, I will start it all over again, where I start working on stuff, and that includes, some hours variously during the days and stuff when, maybe something needs to get done, including conversations with, Cam about different ways that we can better our marketing experience, different conversations with different teams about what we can do, and pretty much just dragging on here. But, it never stops, and I think Cam was right when he said, that's a very hard question to answer, because like social media, I consider my role always on the clock. I'm always on Discord. It's pretty much one of the last things I look at before I go to bed, and one of the first things I look at when I wake up. So there's, a lot of stuff that I encompass, and there's a broadcast meeting involved in there somewhere. So, it's a lot, but it's what I love. It's part of the game. It's the hustle, and that's, what I live for. And so, I sit up until 11 p.m. watching Sims, but I love doing it. Like when I look at the clock and it's time to go to bed, I get a little sad inside, like, oh man, I got to turn this off. And like, I know I want to keep working on it because, like, I know I'm getting close to a good game plan. But also at the same time, like, I have to be up in 8 hours for my real job, which I love doing as well. So, it's really a great life, but it's very on the clock all the time. But that's what I love.
That makes sense, and keep moving things forward. And to one thing that it seems like the SFL's been doing is always breaking news, because something is always good that's happening. Or if that's even like having an advertisement, or even looking at was it our clothing line is possibly coming out here pretty soon. Besides the SFL stuff, I noticed on that site that it said that there was possible apparel coming for actual teams, which that got me excited, because I'm like, I'm getting me some Nightwing stuff. But for both of you guys, is there something that might be breaking news towards the future that you can tell now? A possible, a little spoiler to it right now, or is that still under wraps if there's anything?
I think, and I'll jump on, the front end of this. I think breaking news is interesting for a lot of reasons. For a lot of us and for a lot of people in the league, when something breaks, there's usually 10 to 12 hands that are behind it working in some way, shape, or form. So for us, who sometimes work on the deals, and I'm sure for Cam it's very similar, it's not really breaking as much as it's like, I've been doing this for a month, but now I finally get to tell people. And that's, it's a really cool feeling. But I don't know. It's a very tough, like, a lot of times you don't see it a month out. You're just kind of like, this might work, this might work, this might work. And then one day it works and you're like, shoot, I have to tell everyone. So, it's interesting for me. I think, one of the things that, this isn't necessarily breaking news, but it's one of those things that I think could really push the league forward, is getting all of our teams on every social media platform. So Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I think we're trending in the right direction. A lot of teams have made the jump to Instagram this year, and I love that. And I want to see teams keep pushing that, because I think right now Instagram's hot in terms of social media. There's a lot of eyeballs, a lot of people getting involved in the conversation. And I think the more teams that jump on there and push content, the better the league is going to be on the outset of it. And so I'm very excited to. Say what?
Say cliffhanger?
I don't know. Is that what he said?
I couldn't hear anything he was saying all of a sudden. I guess I was the only one.
Sorry. I'll jump back in. You can clip it if you want, Kramer.
All right.
I think getting all of our teams on social media for all of the platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, is going to be very important. I think we're making the trend in the right direction for Instagram. And that's kind of where my focus is this season, because Instagram is hot right now. For a lot of the, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's interesting for people not in the social media realm here, and I'll tangent for just a second, then I'll jump right back on it, I promise. It's, again, one of those things where, like, when you're in social media every day, you see things start to rise and fall, and you kind of know, like, okay, in 3 months that might not be around anymore. When things pop up out of the blue, you can kind of tell, okay, this is going to die, or this is going to be here for a while. So when Instagram started to rise, it was kind of like, okay, this has the basis of being here for a while, and then, your Facebook bought into it, and then it's here for a while. But going back to my point, I think getting all of our teams on and in where a lot of the eyeballs are is going to be very important for the league's success, because I think, anytime you have the chance to market to more people or put the league or your team in front of more people, the more success you're going to have. I kind of, consider it casting a wide net. If I'm going to go fishing for fish that, can easily get caught in a net or a hook, why the heck would I just throw one hook in the water when I can throw a whole net and try and get 20 fish instead of just one at a time?
Exactly.
So for me, you know, I think that's one thing I'm really passionate about and really excited about for this season and for the next season is seeing, you know, some of the fruits of that labor and seeing how many people our teams can kind of engage with on social and get involved in either the league or just the sim football community in the conversation, because I think that's arguably just as important.
So, no, I don't have any breaking news, but
If
the
you do,
the
though, make
goal.
sure you tell me first, so we can get you on the show and have it projected out.
That's right. Um, but with that being said, we've made a commitment to improving the quality of our broadcasts through 1080p production, um, upgraded internet, upgraded tech. We've done that now for a number of seasons, but this season, you know, it's kind of brought its way forward. In the coming weeks, there will be more graphics on the screen, more player-specific information, leaderboards, standings, you know, all that type of stuff. Everything that you would expect out of watching a football game on television, because ultimately we are going after networks. Our product has been seen probably by 0.1% of football fans. We're not a big budget operation. We don't have, you know, a big video game that has chosen to back us or even respond to us. We don't have, you know, we're not owned by a big major media conglomerate and don't have the relationships to leverage those type of things. So the only thing that we can do is create a product that is consistent, that looks just as good as any other product out there, esports or traditional sports, and show these, you know, show these people, hey, you have a platform that can reach all of those that we are trying to reach. And if you put it on your network, people will associate your network with this really mind-blowing new type of way to get involved in esports or just the sport that they love. And we believe that we have a ton to offer, and it's something that only, you know, only we, I believe, are in position to offer to anybody, because you might play a newer game, but there's really no point in creating your own, you know, your own unique presentation, because the presentation's already great in newer games. But we're taking a game that desperately needs a, you know, a visual facelift, and we're giving it that facelift, and we're making it our own. And in doing that, we lessen the value of the video game in which is being played, and we're raising the value in the brand in which is being presented, which is the SFL brand and our member teams brands. And since we started making that commitment, we have hired Matt Doyle Designs and partnered with them to rebrand our teams in our league. We have, you know, partnered with Sector 6 to bring a professional merchandisee to, you know, to our operations on the league and team level, so that our teams totally look the part across the board, and so that our league looks the part across the board. So um, that is what we push towards, and that's where we strive to be. And because I think ultimately the big bang and the big break of this league becoming quote unquote mainstream, if it's even possible, which I'm not saying it is, because it's a very niche thing, but that rests on our product being as original and high quality as possible. And I think week one was a great first step in that direction, because we didn't have to worry about what the quality of the video was going to look like, really, for the first time ever.
And the quality has looked amazing. And I believe I watched 5 games this week, including the Denver one. And it seemed like every single one of them had something that made my. Because, I mean, of course, this game looks very good when it's at 1080p. But like beforehand, it was just like a little fuzzy. Like I noticed when I edit my videos for Denver at the end, for some reason it defaults to 360p, which I always get it back up though. But it just like this game looks amazing right now.
Yeah, I mean that's good. That's what we want to see, and we'll continue to produce that quality and basically shop our content out there to anyone that might be interested in it. So I think big days are ahead in that regard, and our commentary teams and our live stats teams and all that. I want to make these guys famous. I want more people to say, who are these guys? And then find out that their resume includes no professional broadcasting experience when they were able to gather all of that experience here in this league. Like that, being able to lift the platform is such an exciting proposition that we're striving for.
All right, so I'm gonna.
And by the way,
go ahead.
Kramer, before you say anything
Okay.
else, we have a broadcast meeting in 10 minutes. I'm fine to continue this post meeting, but I just want to let you know so that when you ask your next question, you'd know we'd have to run after.
I got you. Well, this is the part of the section where it's rapid fire. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question, and it's pretty much like get to know you a little bit. Does that sound good? No, both of you guys. It's gonna be really quick.
Yep.
All right.
Sure, fire away.
We will be done before your meeting. I promise that.
Who's answering the question first, Cam or me? Because it's not going to be rapid fire if we both pause and
All
let
right.
the other
We'll start with you, Andy. You can start it off every single question. Okay.
one. Okay,
What is your favorite color?
blue.
Powder blue.
Oh, nice. That's actually nice. Yeah. What's your favorite movie?
The Hangover.
Water boy.
Both are very solid. If there was a movie that was centered around you, who would be the actor?
Ooh, probably Zach Galifianakis.
Me. I want it to not sell.
All right.
Can I change my answer to Cam?
Okay, yeah, you can.
I don't know who would play me. It just so I guess I'd have to do it and take the loss.
I'll pick Tom Cruise for you. How does that sound?
Oh, actually, no, I know who. Who's the guy from Social Network?
Not
And
Justin
Zombie.
Timberlake. You're talking about the guy with the fro.
Yeah, the Zombieland, the guy
yeah,
that played
I know exactly
Zuckerberg. Who's that?
I know who. I can see him right now.
That guy.
I know who
that
you're
guy.
talking about.
I think everyone can.
People.
I
would know.
love that guy. I watch any movie that guy's in. He's so good.
All right. Do you guys put pineapple on your pizza?
Not by choice, but I don't mind it.
To quote More Rivers, beep, no.
Okay. Do you like to put ketchup on your steak?
No. Am I an animal?
Are you Patrick Mahomes?
No. I don't talk like Kermit the Frog.
Nice. I like that.
See my previous answer.
Okay. So what other sport do you guys watch rather than football?
For work, I was getting into basketball and hockey last year, and I actually like both of those decently.
I'd go with basketball as a second sport for me.
Oh, but I did play ultimate frisbee in high school and college,
Some
and I
frizz.
love that sport.
Yes, I enjoy ultimate frisbee a lot. Who was your favorite athlete growing up to watch? Like when you're growing up.
Chad Ochocinco.
Brett Favre.
They're very solid. All right, that ends my rapid fire, and we have about 6 minutes. So this is the point in the section that everybody likes, because it's always the call-outs. So who is the person that you would call out right now? It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. You just want to call them out to trash talk. I like trash talking people because it's always fun. Because I'm a playful guy, and not many people know that, but I like to joke around. Do you guys know exactly who you want to call out first? Because I can go first because I already have mine right now.
Yeah, you go ahead, and then we'll swing into it. How about that?
Sounds good to me. I'll give you an example because this person has been saying a lot of things, and I'm about to see him actually on Friday, including with his buddy. Well, he lives with. It's Jeremy Vega. Jeremy, I'll tell you one thing right now. You keep saying, I have a paycheck coming. A paycheck. People are like, oh, not many people get paid in the SFL. Yeah, nobody gets paid in the SFL, but he keeps saying, He's going to pay me. I always ask, where's my paycheck? He always replies back saying, it's coming. Jeremy, you say that one more time. This Friday, you're paying for my meal, of course, so that might be my paycheck. But this Friday, when I see you, get ready. That and also, Mighty, we're coming for you. We're going to take down Alaska on Monday, so that's that.
I'll go. I think there's two people I want to call out. And I think I'm going to add a twist. I don't know if this has been done on the show, Kramer.
And let me hear it, and I'll let you know.
First, I'm going to call out Joshua Williams from the Atlanta Swarm. And second, I'm going to call out Liam Crowder, the owner of the London Knights, both of which do very good work for the SFL. And I'm going to call them out because I want both of their names to be higher on people's list of people in the SFL who do a great job. Liam with the website and Josh with Atlanta's social media presence, both of them top-notch, very professional guys who work very hard for this football league, and both deserve all of the praise and more. And that's why I'm calling them out, is I think more people should be having a discussion about how hard those two work, as well as many others, but those two are just kind of on the forefront of my brain because I think both of them do an incredible job, and they both deserve to have their name in more conversations about hardworking people in the league.
Well, I think that's the very first one I've heard that compliments people. That's good. We need more
I'm
of
all
that.
about positivity.
Especially like
I'm going to break that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rich Pratchard, get your act together. Sick and tired of you ruining broadcast meetings every Wednesday night.
He won't shut up.
Stop talking over people. Stop being a disruptor. Just sit there and just do your job. Okay,
I
Rich?
tell you what, man, Cam, I'm going to add on to that. In the locker room, man, he won't shut up.
Okay, so one of the best parts about being a broadcaster is being at broadcast meetings on Wednesday night. We had so much fun. Andy, I don't know if you'd agree, but that's probably where I have the most fun every week.
I would say that is one of the times in my entire life where I feel like I can 100% be myself. Usually you're holding something back, you're trying to be professional. The broadcast meeting, I just let it rip, and it's a blast.
And so in these meetings, Kramer, Rich Pratchard is quiet, he's respectful, he does not engage in these silly antics that you throw around. But I will take every opportunity to rope him into the conversation by saying it's his fault. So I just know that he would very much appreciate my shout out today.
That's awesome. That's good. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we close this bad boy out?
I just want to say thank you to you, Kramer, as well as to the rest of anyone who's listening. I think the SFL is a special place, and I think it's special, not only because of the hard work Cam and the other league staff members put in, but also because of the members and the self-driven content that kind of pushes this league to the next level. So, thank you for doing your podcast. I think it's very important to the face of the league, and thank you to everyone who listens and supports Kramer, as well as anyone else who's doing their thing in the SFL, because that's just as important as any job I do.
If you want to be a broadcaster, it's easier than ever to do so. You'll start in stats and learn kind of how everything works and get your opportunity. But it's please come join our team, our broadcast and stats team. It's so much fun. You see the league from a whole nother angle, and you get to see how games are produced, how it all goes down, how everything works and operates, and it's a ton of fun. Please join us. We're always looking for more people to come help.
So that was this edition of the Kramer Jackman Show. Thank you, Cameron Irvine, and thank you, Andy Hamilton, for joining me for this nice and Wednesday night. I'm getting you right out at 8 o'clock, which is very perfect for you guys to get to your meeting. Once again, I'm Kramer Jackman. I almost said my full name there. When in doubt, you'll get out. Have a good one.